All right, I forgot where we were, but anyway, we are discussing about transcendentalism, and I want to introduce you to some of the greatest writers of transcendentalism. They are Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, Margaret Fuller, Theodore Parker, Chief Seattle, Leo Tolstoy, John Muir, Aldo Leopold, great thinkers. They are all environmental ethic writers. That is the most important thing you should know. So all these authors, you just Google, ask for brainy quotes or brilliant quotes from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Mention those names. Then you will get the quotes. That is the way you learn. Quotes are the best place where you get wisdom. They are small and very easy to understand, and they give you a very profound insight. So I think brilliant quotes by Ralph Waldo Emerson, David Henry Thoreau, Margaret Fuller, Theodore Parker, Chief Seattle, Leo Tolstoy, John Muir, etc., etc. Next. So as I told you, this is the time of the peak of Industrial Revolution. There was widespread replacement of manual labor by machines in England in the 18th and the 19th centuries, which led to the growth of cities. And Industrial Revolution also encouraged high economic growth. Naturally, it led to excessive consumption. There was huge mass production of things, goods. So bigger the better. Buy. So people were buying. And fossil fuel use was becoming very prominent. Petrol, diesel, gas, coal. So that is the time we started to exploit Mother Nature. Industrial Revolution did a big damage to the natural world, to the abiotic and the biotic parts of the natural world. Later in 1960s, Green Revolution with the fertilizers and pesticide farming destroyed other parts of the natural world. These are the two evil revolutions: Industrial Revolution, Green Revolution. Both of them caused destruction of nature. Some of the writings of Ralph Waldo Emerson on transcendentalism. Nature, a temple for communing with spiritual world. That is a beautiful writing. Nature is a temple for communing with spiritual world. See there, it talks about God of immanence, a God who is present among us. Word made flesh dwelt among us. God of immanence. So that quote points to the God of immanence. In the presence of nature, a wild delight runs through the man in spite of real sorrows. These quotes are found in a book called Nature. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote a book called Nature. In that book you find these brilliant quotes. In the presence of nature, a wild delight runs through the man in spite of real sorrows. Same Ralph Waldo Emerson writes in that book, Nature, earth laughs in flowers. Yes. Who told you only humans can laugh? Nature also can laugh. Flower is the laughter of Mother Nature. That great nature in which we rest, that unity, that oversoul, within which every man's particular being is contained and made one with all the other. We live in succession, in division, in parts, in particles. Meantime, within man is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. Same mindset of Tirumular, அண்டத்தில் இல்லாதது பிண்டத்தில் இல்லை, பிண்டத்தில் இல்லாதது அண்டத்தில் இல்லை. Within man is the soul of the whole. See? Andam and Pindam, they come together within each individual. Then we come to another brilliant writer called Henry David Thoreau. He is from Boston, Massachusetts. I lived in Boston for 7 years. I went to his native place and I have all his books. I was inspired by this man, Henry David Thoreau. He has written 2 famous books called The Walden Pond. See, I've written there. Walden Pond is one of the famous book of David Thoreau. Mahatma Gandhi was inspired by Henry David Thoreau. After reading his books, Mahatma Gandhi developed the village economics known as the Swadeshi, Swaraj, Sarvodaya. Those 3 concepts you must have heard about them. Swadeshi, Swaraj, Sarvodaya. What are they? I will explain them little later. So Mahatma Gandhi was inspired by Henry David Thoreau. So if you may have some books in your library, please go and look the list, and if you don't have anything, you just suggest to the librarian to buy some books written by Henry David Thoreau and also Ralph Waldo Emerson. Just now I told you. I asked one of the brothers to jot down, to write down all these names so that you can inquire the librarian whether he has the books, or otherwise you place an order and you buy those books. Only by reading books you can become something. With cell phone reading, if you read something in the cell phone, in computer, even in internet, that is not the source of knowledge or wisdom. You get some information, that's it. I agree with that. You get some information. Information is not wisdom and intelligence and wisdom and knowledge. No. Information is very shallow. Wisdom is deep, like deep ecology. So you get wisdom and intelligence only through reading books. There is no other shortcut in that. So if you don't read books, you won't become anything, nothing. So read books, it's very important. Only through reading you can become a great thinker. So Henry Thoreau, he wrote a lot of books on the philosophical basis for romantic transcendentalism, preservation ethics. See, these are all ethic writers. Preservation ethic. Now we know as conservation ethics. Same meaning, preservation ethics or conservation ethics. And also he wrote another book called Wilderness. Wilderness. In that book, there is a quote, in wilderness is the preservation of the world. What is the wilderness? Jesus went to the wilderness for 40 days. You remember? Mark puts it in the chapter 1, verse 12 or something. We read, Jesus went to wilderness for 40 days. He remained 40 days there. Yeah. Now you compare this quote. In wilderness is the preservation of the world. Yeah. When you go to wilderness, you become part and parcel of Mother Earth. You blend with Mother Earth. Mark is putting another word there. He wrote, Jesus went to wilderness and he remained 40 days there, and he was with the wild animals. That is what he writes. You read that, text from chapter 1 of Mark, I think verse 12. He went 40 days to the wilderness and immediately puts it, he was there with the wild beast. This is great experience for Jesus. Yeah, he found his Father there. He was communing with his Father in nature. Early morning he went to the mountains and he was communing with the Father. He went to the seashore. He was praying to his Father. Night time, he was praying to his Father in the darkness. Who told there is nothing in darkness? In darkness, there is everything. Darkness contains everything. Only in daylight we miss something, but in darkness we don't miss anything. It is there. So in wilderness is the preservation of the world. Jesus learned everything in the wilderness. All wisdom comes from nature. You should know that. Here comes another giant environmental ethic writer, John Muir. Please write the name immediately. This is the man you should read. Actually, today itself you type brainy or brilliant quotes of John Muir. Hundreds of quotes. Each quote is it's a super quote. It's a blast. It's a blast. You will like it. He was a political advocate of this romantic transcendental preservation ethics. He is also an ethic writer. He writes as follows: aesthetic and spiritual values were greater than materialistic gains from exploitation. Nature had intrinsic value beyond human need. Destroying nature was destroying God's work. These are all atheists. All these writers, they didn't believe in transcendental God. They denied God, but they approved God of immanence. They told God is present in creation. That's why you could write, destroying nature was destroying God's work. He started, like a NGO group called Sierra Club. It is a non-profit organization. And also, he worked for Yosemite National Park Conservation, and he succeeded. One of the most beautiful parks, national parks in the world. And also, he helped preserve one of the tallest trees in the world, redwoods. Write it right now, redwoods, redwood trees. They are the tallest trees in the world. They grow up to 375 feet tall. They grow up only along the Pacific coast of San Francisco, California, USA. I was there in that redwood forest which John Muir established. When you go and stand next to those trees, they are 700, 800, 900 years old, 375 feet tall. You just go to YouTube today and you type redwoods and you get videos. Just enjoy them. And you should remember John Muir for preserving them and conserving them. So I will give you more quotes on John Muir right now. I think you will be enchanted. You will be thrilled to read his quotes. Just I want to instigate interest for you so that you can go and search for more quotes. See, John Muir is writing, most people are on the world, not in it. Most people are on the world, not in it. The next quote is the most brilliant quote on deforestation. I mean, as I told you, he was trying to establish a national park for redwood trees, the tallest trees, but he saw painfully that people were cutting down those mighty trees. That pained him a lot. And he writes as follows: God has cared for these trees, saved them from drought, disease, avalanches, and 1,000 tempests and floods. But he cannot save them from fools. But he cannot save them from fools. That is us. Homo sapiens is a fool. Same John Muir writing as follows: in every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. Isn't that right? For example, if I want to go for a walk now, let me go and watch my mango garden. So let me go, I got mango, some 10 trees, let me go and watch them, see them. So I just go and I intend to see mango trees. But when I go there, I see a snake. Oh my God. I see a rabbit. I see an iguana. I see beautiful birds there. I see an owl. I get more than what I intended. That's what it means. And every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. The next quote talks about the blunt truth about our existence and about the existence of the rest of our creatures. And we are all brothers and sisters because we are made up of same stuff, that is soil. Every creature came out of soil, out of Panjabhutas. That makes us brothers and sisters. You know, Pope Francis came up with a new encyclical on the 3rd October 2020, just a day before the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. Anybody know about the title of it? How many of you know the title of it? Encyclical. Ah, good. Fratelli Tutti. That is the title. Fratelli Tutti. That's how St. Francis of Assisi used to address his own brothers. Fratelli Tutti. To all my brothers. That is what it means. So that's how we became Fratelli Tutti. Because we come from the same Father, and also we are made up of same DNA, the same stuff. He writes as follows, John Muir, from the dust of the earth, from the common elementary fund, the Creator has made Homo sapiens. From the same material, He has made every other creature, however noxious and insignificant to us. They are earth-born companions and our fellow mortals. Wow, what a writing. That's how we became Fratelli Tutti. Actually, Pope Francis is writing, I think, in a paragraph number 220, I think, that we are all brothers and sisters and we are united with other creatures. He writes and he uses brilliant words. He writes as follows, I hope I remember that quote, we are not disconnected from the rest of creation, Pope Francis writes. We are not disconnected from the rest of creation, but joined in a universal communion. But joined in a universal communion. That is beautiful writing. So I think we are Fratelli Tutti. Now we come to another giant ethic writer, Aldo Leopold. He is known as the land ethic writer. You can't get any other writing equal to this man. All these are giants. Those three people, John Muir, Aldo Leopold, David Henry Thoreau. If you are familiar with these three, that's enough. You can become a superstar ecologist. You can become a superstar geologist. You can become a superstar environmental ethic teacher. You are a superstar, yes. These three. You please search for quotes from these three and you will become a giant, a superstar in the future. I promise you. Aldo Leopold writes as follows. Conservation is getting nowhere because it is incompatible with our Abrahamic concept of land. He is also not appreciating Western religions, monotheistic religions like Christianity, etc. Abrahamic religions, he thinks they are no good. Already Lynnwood Jr., in his article Historical Roots of Our Ecological Crisis, the 1967 article, he also said the same thing, Abrahamic religions. He called Judeo-Christian tradition as destroyed and created the ecological crisis. So all these religions, they don't have a good name among scientists. So he also against Abrahamic religion. Conservation is getting nowhere because it is incompatible with our Abrahamic concept of land. We abuse land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. It's a beautiful quote for environmental ethics on land. He writes as follows on ethics. Ethical behavior is doing the right thing when no one is watching. Ethical behavior is doing the right thing when no one else is watching. Even when doing the wrong thing is legal. When nobody is watching, when you do something evil, that is also valid. It has value. That's a beautiful quote, but don't take it very seriously. So the same Aldo Leopold writes as follows. Only the mountain has lived long enough to listen objectively to the howl of the wolf. The second part of the quote down there, the upper part already read it. The last word in ignorance is the man who says of an animal or plant, what good is it? I was talking about eucalyptus trees and Parthenium plant. We ask, what good is it? Destroy them, burn them, pull them out. They are weeds. Same thing, weeds, what good is it? Mosquitoes, what good is it? Snakes, what good is it? Cockroaches, what good is it? The last word in ignorance, only ignorant people say that. It's the man who says of an animal or plant, what good is it? If the land mechanism as a whole is good, then every part is good, whether we understand it or not. Hey, you say, this land is beautiful, then why don't you say the snake and the cockroach which lives in the land is also good? But God found it was good, isn't it? Then why do you find parts bad? As a whole you look good, but as parts you find it bad. It can't be. It's logically wrong. It should look good. If the biota means the product of the land, in the course of eons, that is 15 billion years or 4.5 billion years, has built something we like but do not understand, then who but a fool would discard seemingly useless parts? Only fools will say that is bad, this is evil. Coronavirus is bad, flu virus is bad, AIDS virus is bad. Only fools say that because they have been part of this natural world. To keep every cog and wheel in the first precaution of intelligent tinkering. I think Aldo Leopold must have been a tinker as a profession. Maybe that's why he is writing, to keep every cog and wheel is the first precaution of intelligent tinkering. I don't know, but that's what I think. I should do some research, what was his profession. Then we can understand that quote. All right, this quote is very brilliant. You read again and make a sense out of it. The same Aldo Leopold writes as for the modern dogma is comfort at any cost. We want to live in only comfort zone. We never want to go to risk zone. That is what Pope Francis is writing very often, desperately. He calls especially religious people, throw yourself in the risk zone. Don't stay in the comfort zone inside four walls, in institutions or parish houses. There is nothing out there. There are no challenges. There is nothing to do there. Only you protect yourself and you fill your stomach you fill your pleasures, and you fill your emptiness. Go to the risk zone, throw yourself on the street. Go to the periphery. Go to the edges of civilization. Go to the edges of nature. Include everything, not only humans. Include abiotic and biotic parts. This following quote is my favorite, not only favorite, for environmental ethic teachers love this quote. All right? This is the ultimate writing of Aldo Leopold. And concentrate and look at the screen and focus on each and every word. Okay? The land ethic simply enlarges the boundaries of the community to include soils, waters, plants and animals, or collectively the land. In short, a land ethic changes the role of Homo sapiens from conqueror of the land community to plain member and citizen of it. It implies respect for his fellow members and also respect for the community as such. You can read the quote later on, but just I want to explain a little bit about this quote. You see, in short, a land ethic changes the role of Homo sapiens from conqueror of the land community, that is from dominion model ethics, that is the conqueror of the land and community, that is the dominion model ethics, to plain member and citizen of it, that is deep ecology model, where we discussed that we are part of the community and we are not above and we are equal, and we become part of the net. We are the knots of the net. Yesterday I was talking about we are the knots of the net. So that is what, when Aldo Leopold writes, from conqueror of the land community to plain member and citizen of it, it implies respect for his fellow members and also respect for the community as such. The biotic and the abiotic we call the natural world, and we become part of it. Next.